Hey, it's Sam. In this video, I kind of want to go over who I am exactly and kind of what my history is with gaming. I also want to talk about what I plan to do with this channel, and I hope you'll stick around and enjoy this video with me and give me your thoughts. I always want to interact with you and hear from you. That's one of my favorite things about having this channel. So let's get into it. I kind of want to go into why I'm even making these videos. What about gaming and these games that I'm playing is important to me to even spend all this time and to make these videos, spend significant time chatting with you about these games. Well, I think it goes back to when I was a wee lad in my garage at home. I was like 5 or 6 maybe. And I remember playing the first game that I remember playing was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the NES. It was in my garage, and it was cold, and I was sitting on the cold concrete. And I had just made it to the water level. And I was absolutely shaking. I wasn't shaking because it was cold, but from the pure adrenaline, from the excitement and challenge of that game. And I kind of understood at that point that gaming was for me. I was hooked. That adrenaline was huge. That excitement was unbelievable. And I just wanted to play games. So gaming growing up for me was difficult. My mom hated when I played games. So every minute spent in front of the screen, it was an absolute battle to get to. Any sort of screen time, whether it be TV or games, was a battle. And that sort of opposition, if you will, made me want to game even more. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons that I've held on to the hobby later into my adult life. I would always go over to my buddies' houses, and I would always ask to go over to my buddies' houses because they were allowed to play games anytime. And when I was over there, I basically spent the whole time trying to play as much games as possible. And sometimes I would come home a literal zombie the next day after a sleepover or something, just because I had played as much games as I could and barely slept, and I just wanted to game so bad. It's pretty normal for a teenage boy, a early teens boy, but in my case, it was a little more accentuated. I remember the first time I played World of Warcraft, and it was kind of near the tail end of vanilla, so I never maxed at vanilla. But I had purchased the Game of the Year huge cardboard box from Costco. If you remember, Costco used to sell in-box games still. And, this one was like the special edition. It had the huge cover where it flipped out and it showed you like some of the, I think it was in Feraless or something, where you could see some of the characters and the classes. And I don't know how I convinced my mom, but I convinced her to let me buy it. And to be honest, I didn't even load the game up at my parents' computer first. I had a trip coming up with my grandparents, and so I went and visited them, and I knew they had a computer, and I spent hours over that weekend trying to get the game installed, and I finally got it installed, and I barely had time to play it, but that didn't matter to me. The minutes that I did get were amazing. I started with the Night Elf Druid. I was just running around there in the starter zone, smacking those Night Sabers. And man, I was hooked. I mean, any sort of game, that game in particular just kind of opened my mind to what gaming had the possibility to be. And that fantastical sort of feeling and setting, it really captured me. That's where my passion really, kind of took the next step, if you will. Through growing up, I continued to, connive and weasel my way into any gaming world that had a fantasy taste to it. And I think the biggest culprit for me, and the one I spent the most time in, was RuneScape. And we currently know it as old school RuneScape. But that, back in my 13, 14, 15-year-old life, that was the game to play. The game held so much fun for my friends and I, and to be honest, I learned a lot about human behavior on the internet because of that game. People would try to scam you. My buddy lured me into the wilderness, killed me for all my gold. He's like, I fell for it. I mean, I was 13. Like, you're a 13-year-old boy. You're not, and I wasn't the guiliest, conniving, lying person. So I was pretty straightforward. So I just believed him. But you learn a lot about the human behavior. And I learned to type like a beast because of trade chat in that game. Man, I could type those colorful, moving words so fast to sell those lobbies. Anyways, around the time that Burning Crusade launched, I remember I had a junky laptop, and that was supposed to be for school, but I somehow figured out how to install Burning Crusade on that. It was a terrible thing. It's onboard integrated graphics card. It barely let me play at 10 FPS, but I somehow managed to get a full set of honor on a Drowned-Eye Shaman at the time. And I remember one time I was grinding in a battlefield, and I think it was AV or something like that. It was like 3 a.m., and I heard my mom coming down the hallway, and I slammed the laptop shut. I hopped under the covers right before my door opened, and she was like checking on me to see if I was gaming. It was a pretty close call. I love my mom, and she meant well, and she really did a great job raising me, and I think this one area of my childhood, I probably won't keep that in as I'm raising my kids. I'm going to let my kids play games. And I think it was fine. Like, I still got to play some games, and I wasn't like, totally sheltered or locked down from games or anything like that. But I do remember some of those sneaky gaming moments just so I could play. So another huge memory for me was when I was abroad at college. I spent some time out of state, out of the States, in an international kind of campus situation. I won't really go into the details, but all you need to know is I wasn't home and I wasn't around family, and all I had was the people who were around me, and they were nice people, of course, but I didn't really know them very well. But one of the most vivid memories I have being at that college was one weekend we convinced the IT guy at the campus to load up Diablo 2 with us on a few laptops and play with us. Now, this was a big deal because the college over there had strict policies around internet usage, and we really we couldn't just game all the time. It was a close, small-knit college, and they kind of kept tabs on you a little bit. So this was special. The IT guy was like, all right, let's do it. And so it was kind of fun. We loaded it up, and we made it through the games for hours and hours during the weekend. I don't even remember what class I played or how well we did overall. And I didn't care, really. I think the point of it is that all I wanted to do was game, and memories like these, they just captured my mind at the moment. I just remember them being such a big deal to me. I've always been drawn to fantasy games. Even today, I'm always going to choose the swords and spells over the guns and lasers. And I've played my fair share of shooters like Halo, Fortnite, Call of Duty, etc. But I always find myself coming back to the medieval fantasy-like games. It's something about that setting that really just captures me. Games like Neverwinter Nights 2, World of Warcraft, of course, Divinity Original Sin 2 as well, Elder Scrolls, Oblivion, Skyrim. I played a little bit of Morrowind too, but not too much. RuneScape, obviously, and then Diablo 2, Diablo 3, and a little bit of Diablo 4. That game was trash, and I'll speak to that more in another video. But the point is that something about the setting of these games just feels right. It's sci-fi games, they're really advanced, and they shoot lasers, and it's a little more like I don't know, it's a little more far-fetched. For some reason, fantasy games seem more human to me, seem more grounded. Like, yeah, that guy could cast a spell. I mean, that's within the reasonable amount of reason within the actual world. I think my mind can capture that, and it's silly. I don't know, man. For whatever reason, it appeals to me on a deep level, and so that's just a brief background of who I am as a gamer, the games, some of the games that I've played. There are countless other games. You know, I had a stint with League of Legends. I'll never play that game again. It's so toxic. I've gone through my Fortnite spell. I played that game for hundreds of hours. Halo, obviously, I've played some of that. I played Skyrim and did all of that. And, you know, Skyrim's on every platform now. And, you know, I've played a lot of games. And I always keep coming back to these fantasy games. So that's kind of what I'm going to be focusing on this channel. I'm not going to stick to one game. I will stick to my favorites. Like Path of Exile 2 is just like amazing. It's such a great game. RuneScape, I don't know if I'll have much RuneScape content on here. Definitely World of Warcraft. But any sort of fantasy games that are new or coming up, Elden Ring, you know, I'll probably put some videos out about that. I know this is kind of in between, but I would say it leans more to the fantasy side in that's Monster Hunter. I forget the name of the new one. It's not World, but it's something else. But it's coming out this year, so I'll probably play some of that as well. All that to say is that this channel is going to be videos about my experiences with those games, what I think about them. I'm just giving you my opinions. They're not necessarily fact all of the time. I usually base my opinions strongly off of fact, and like this is what it is. That's just kind of my personality. But some of them are, I'll just say, this game is dumb, bro. And then, you know, I'm just going to play these games and put videos out as I see fit. And I have some plans for the channel, and I really hope that I can, you know, reach the goals that I have set personally. You know, I want to hit, 1,000 subs. I want to hit 2,000 subs even. I want to be able to put out videos and make an impact into this small community, and I just want to interact with you. And if you have games that you think would be good for me to play or good for me to try, I would love to hear from you in the comments. If you're interested in joining me as I continue to work through, the thousands of fantasy games out in the world there, subscribe, like the video, join me along as I go through these. The type of content you can expect to see are reviews, opinions, maybe sometimes a guide here or there. But mostly I'm just going to be looking at what a game is, how it works, and how it kind of stacks up, in my opinion, to the top tier games out there right now. So yeah, that's kind of my plan for the channel. That's kind of who I am, and I'm really excited that those of you who are already subscribed have stuck around, and I'm so thankful that you're watching these videos. I'm so thankful for you as a person to spend your time and actually watch and give me watch hours as you have. That's amazing. I don't expect it, and I'm honestly so grateful. It's so special to me that this is happening. I just want to give you this content that's relatable to you, that's real. I want to talk to you like a bro sitting out in his garage, and we're just shooting the breeze, talking about the latest builds in Path of Exile 2, or this game that's coming out, or how you PK'd someone crazily like in RuneScape and stuff like that. I just want to talk and chat with you guys. So I'm always going to do my best to respond to every comment on this on this channel. And if it gets too big, then hey man, that's going to be a great problem to have, and I won't be able to comment, obviously, that reply to every comment, but I will do my best. And I love interacting with you, and I love talking to each of you. So like, subscribe, and really, if you want to join me in this journey, comment down below what you want to see. I'm going to continue making these videos into this new year. I've got some goals set for 2025, and I really hope you join me for this journey. I'm going to sign off now. Probably going to go play some Path of Exile 2 at the moment, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching.